Hi friends, today I'm looking at Luciana's monologue from the Comedy of Errors, and may it be that you have quite forgot a husband's office. This was a request from Anastasia and her audition is coming up very soon, so this is a rush order video which may not have much editing at all, so bear with me. As usual, I'm going to do a little bit on context, a little bit on acting choices, I'll do the meaning breakdowns and a reading for you at the end. So let's start with context. Very simply, if you know the Comedy of Errors, it's all a mistaken identity thing. So at this point, Luciana, who is the sister of Adriana, thinks that Adriana, her sister's husband, is cheating on her. So she has approached who she thinks is her sister's husband, but is in fact his, long lost twin brother, and is telling him off for cheating, essentially. I think what you need to keep in mind in terms of character is that she reminds me a bit of Helena from A Midsummer Night's Dream. There's an element of hypocrisy in what she's doing. She's just spent the scene before telling Adriana, you need to obey your husband, you need to listen to your husband, blah, blah, blah. And Adriana said, yeah, well, when you're married, come back to me and talk to me about that then, because then I'll take your advice. And now what Luciana's doing is coming in and having her say about, how marriage should be and telling off Adriana's husband. So what I think you need to think about in terms of your acting choices is how much is this opportunity for her to speak to her sister's husband about her having her say and her being the type of person that knows everything and wants to kind of, I guess, be in control and influence everything. And how much is it a genuine concern for her sister's well-being? I think there's no right answer or wrong answer. I think it's going to depend a lot on you, what you see in the character and what you can bring to the role. So just think about that. And it may be a mix. It may be a bit of I'm trying to be bossy and controlling, and it may be a mix of at other times I'm genuinely concerned. Because that's the other big thing with this monologue, is that really a lot of it is kind of on one note. It feels a bit like she's going, and do this, and do this, and do this. And it's a really long explanation with lots of imagery about the same kind of concept. So you really need to make sure that you're finding nuance in it. And that might be one way you can do that, is to look at where is she actually being genuinely concerned. And the other way that you can do that is to think about what type of kind of strategies, what is she doing at each point that's different to the couple of lines before? Is she sort of admonishing him? Is she trying to build him up and then bring him down? What changes in terms of her attitude to him? What would she be doing with her body in that case? Were there any occasions where she might go up close to him and try and kind of really connect? And there are other times where she might be kind of more wandering around and saying, well, this is how it is. Interestingly, this monologue starts the scene. Think about, if you're starting off a scene, what kind of energy you're going to bring into the scene. It's not like you're going to just casually begin and ease your way into it. It's more likely to start with a bang and potentially start with some movement. That can also sometimes help you feel comfortable and connected to the monologue by starting with perhaps walking into the room, like you're leading Antipholus into the room to talk to him. Some things to play with. All right, so here we go. Let's do a line by line meaning breakdown. And may it be that you have quite forgot a husband's office. So I think fairly self-explanatory. Have you forgotten what a husband is actually supposed to do? Which implies that she thinks she knows all about what husbands are supposed to do, despite the fact that she is not married. Okay. Shall, Antipholus, even in the spring of love, thy love springs rot? So this is something interesting about Comedy of Errors, is that there's some beautiful imagery amongst these really sort of antiquated ideas about marriage. So she's saying the spring of love is kind of like when love is blooming, and thy love springs, sort of like hope springs eternal. So like where it's coming from, probably more like a spring, as in like thinking of, the way I think about it is like the way that water might come from a spring, and it's nourishing. So the place that's, so she's doing two types of springs, a time of blooming and then a springing of energy and nourishment that is starting to rot. So she's saying even at the time when love is supposed to be blooming, Is the place that your love is coming from starting to fall apart and rot away? Quite an interesting image there. So do work on connecting to those images. Shall love in building grow so ruinous? So again, she's setting up these antitheses here of building as in growing. So it's supposed to be growing at this point. She's saying this is the time of your life and your marriage where love should be blooming and growing. Grow so ruinous. So she's using an image here of a literal building. So it's a double meaning of building a building, and it is being ruined. It's falling apart. It's turning to a ruin. So here I think is a bit of a shift. If you did wed my sister for her wealth, then for her wealth's sake, use her with more kindness. So if you married for money, at least for the sake of still receiving that money, you need to be looking after my sister properly. And again, perhaps another shift. Or if you like elsewhere, do it by stealth. So if you like someone else, if you are, cheating, can you please just be subtle about it? Can you keep it on the down low? Muffle your false love with some show of blindness. Let not my sister read it in your eye. So muffle, so she's saying hide it, show of blindness. So the imagery that she's using here is the idea that the spark of love, of being interested in someone else, is going to show in his eyes, which relates to, they had this idea about like people's eye beams could get tangled, that they like shoot beams, and when they get tangled, like people fall in love. So that she's probably playing on that a little bit as well. The sense of like hide it. So hide whatever's in your eyes, whether it's beams or just the twinkle of liking someone else. Hide it, almost like a blindness. Be not thy tongue thine own shame's orator. Look sweet, speak fair, become disloyalty. Make sure that they're separate. Don't just kind of rattle them off, because they are separate ideas. So you're painting like, look sweet. So, in your face and your appearance and the way that you interact with her, appear like you care. Speak fair. So say nice things to her, flatter her. Become disloyalty. So when she says become disloyalty, it's not in the sense that we take it now of like becoming something else, like a transformation. It's in the sense that they used to use the word becoming as like looking good. So make disloyalty look good. Apparel vice like virtue's harbinger. So that means like making vice look good. Dress up your wrongdoings to make them look like, the leader, the messenger for all that's good. Bear a fair presence, though your heart be tainted. Teach sin the carriage of a holy saint. Bear a fair presence, though your heart be tainted. So again, even though your heart is, not interested and doing the wrong thing, make yourself look like you're honest. So fair can also kind of mean honest, essentially. Teach sin the carriage of a holy saint. Carriage, in this case, they mean like the way that they carry themselves. So teach sin, show sin how to bear itself. Again, same ideas over and over again, as if it were a saint. Something that might be helpful is it's a little bit of a ladder, I think, of becoming better and better each time. So she's starting with some basic things, like just don't tell her about it. Don't show it in your eyes. And then it becomes like behave well. And then it becomes like be like a saint. So boom, 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 boom. We're getting bigger and bigger with these images each time. Be secret false. What needs she be acquainted? So to me, that's probably a moment where we could potentially connect a bit more, and maybe it's more about the well-being of her sister. So she's saying like, just don't talk about it. Be secretly false. She doesn't need to know. What simple thief brags of his own attaint? So which thief is going to be like, you know what? I'm a thief and I suck. I do horrible things. 'Tis double wrong to truant with your bed, and let her read it in thy looks at board. So it's not just that you're doing her wrong by cheating, but you're doing her wrong again by letting her know of it. Shame hath a bastard fame well managed. And so that ed at the end is pronounced. It's an interesting imagery there, and it could be taken in a couple of different ways. It can kind of be like, you can make the best of a bad situation, or it could be like, I sort of think of it as like notoriety. So, maybe this is going to work for you as long as you look after the situation, which you are not currently. So if you can manage your infidelity as long as you also manage your wife. Ill deeds are doubled with an evil word. So again, you're doing the wrong thing twice. Same meaning as before. Shush, Luciana, we get it. Now, big beat change here. It's now about her and how all women suffer. So this is again why I think she reminds me of Helena a bit. Let's make it about me now. Alas, poor women, make us but believe, being compact of credit, that you love us. So even when we know that you're kind of full of BS, just make us believe that you love us. Though others have the arm, show us the sleeve. And I love that line though. Even though somebody else has the core, the underneath part, the real part, just at least show us the outer part. Show us the presentation. Pretend well, for God's sake. This is like pleading with him. We in your motion turn, and you may move us. This feels genuine to me. We're in your orbit, so we are moved by you. And in Shakespeare, the word moved is not just like it's a suggestion of like we're sort of carried along behind you like a puppy, again reminding us of Helena, but also moved means emotionally moved. We are swayed by you, we are affected by you. What you do affects us in every way, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. The imagery she's using there is planets in orbit. That celestial imagery gives us a suggestion of how big this feeling is for her. So this to me is a moment where you can really connect. Beat change again. Then, gentle brother, get you in again. So go inside. Comfort my sister, cheer her, call her wife. 'Tis holy sport to be a little vain, when the sweet breath of flattery conquers strife. So she's saying, holy sport. It's like, it's a good thing you're doing. It's a blessed game, a blessed game that you're doing to tell us a few lies, when that will put an end to all this trouble. So that's her final kind of plea to him. All right, let me try and read it for you. And I'm going to try and find some nuance, although I find it difficult because she goes on a bit, doesn't she? This is one that if you need to cut it, I think you would be well within your rights to take out a few lines as long as you know what you're doing. I have a video on cutting that I will link for you in the description. And may it be that you have quite forgot a husband's office. Shall, Antipholus, even in the spring of love, thy love springs rot? Shall love in building grow so ruinous? If you did wed my sister for her wealth, then for her wealth's sake use her with more kindness. Or if you like elsewhere, do it by stealth. Muffle your false love with some show of blindness. Let not my sister read it in your eye. Be not thy tongue thine own shame's orator. Look sweet, speak fair, become disloyalty, apparel vice like virtue's harbinger. Bear a fair presence, though your heart be tainted. Teach sin the carriage of a holy saint. Be secret false, what need she be acquainted? What simple thief brags of his own attaint? 'Tis double wrong to truant with your bed, and let her read it in thy looks at board. Shame hath a bastard fame well managed, ill deeds are doubled with an evil word. Alas, poor women, make us but believe, being compact of credit, that you love us. Though others have the arm, show us the sleeve. We in your motion turn, and you may move us. Then, gentle brother, get you in again. Comfort my sister, cheer her, call her wife. 'Tis holy sport to be a little vain, when the sweet breath of flattery conquers strife. Right, hope that's helpful. That's fun actually, yeah, you can feel some building there, and really think about as well, why has he not interrupted her? Is he probably trying to interrupt her and she keeps going, what? Over the top? So get that sense of like, no, I'm not finished, I think can sometimes help you. And when is he maybe sort of like baffled, because of course he knows not what's going on, or when is he like taken by what she's saying, cause he falls in love with her, spoiler, he falls in love with her. So at some point in this, there may be a kind of, a moment where he's like, talk more to me about this stuff. Right, I'm gonna finish there. Good luck with that. And I'll see you in the next video.